Okay, we're going to call this meeting of the Greenwood Park Board for October 5th, 2021 to order. First item on the agenda is the approval of the October, did I give the right date? November 2nd, 2021. I'm sorry. First item on the agenda is the October 5th, 2021 minute meetings. Members should have got a copy. Anybody have any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I need a motion to approve those minutes.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Burton.
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
Aye.
Ms. Kennedy.
Aye.
I'm an aye also. Motion carries. Second item on the agenda is the attorney's report.
The first item for your consideration this evening is the consideration of the use agreement. That's with State Topless. This is the event that has been presented at, I believe, the past two board meetings. And I believe Mr. Smith is present this evening.
Yep, it looks like Mr. Smith is online at the moment, so he has offered to come in and answer any questions that we may have. Jake, it's all you.
Mr. Smith, can you hear us?
Hello, is anyone there?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry, this is the first time I've ever used Zoom.
That's okay. We appreciate you being here tonight. Is there anything you'd like to tell us about this event?
This event is going to be kind of small. It's not going to be anything too crazy. I just kind of wanted to throw something together in memory of my buddy and to kind of throw some support together for the local skate community. Yeah, we got some really good bands coming out if possible. I think I have 9 bands that said they were willing to come out, 4 of them being local bands and 5 others coming from other states.
Okay. Has staff discussed this event with Mr. Smith at all? Rob, has the staff?
Continued discussion.
Yeah, where exactly is the place he's planning on putting the stage in relationship to available electrical? Is that all worked out with staff?
Uh,
Yes?
yeah,
Okay. Okay, when I was reading this, it says a quaint stage. My biggest concern, I think I voiced this the last meeting, Mr. Smith, is we try at all times possible to be good neighbors, especially up there at Northeast Park, because we've got so many backyards that back up to that park and so many that are close to that skate park. We don't want to upset our neighbors. So I want to make sure that whatever's going on up there, in any event that we've had in any of the parks, if it affects neighbors to the park, we want to try to be conscious of that and make sure that we plan the event accordingly so that everybody's happy and we don't have anybody upset with that. So that's why I'm asking where your placement of the stage is going to be. And another kind of open-ended question, as far as I'm concerned, is what kind of music are they going to be playing? I'm assuming that you're not going to do anything that's offensive that anybody would consider. And I know that's kind of an open-ended question when you say offensive. That's different people's interpretations, but keep in mind we do have neighbors.
I absolutely understand all of those points. I've made sure to look through all of the discography of the bands that have shown interest. They have all shown that they are very good individuals. Their music doesn't portray any negative themes. I completely understand the presence of the stage and monitors being a nuisance to some, and I definitely would like to have the stage facing a westward direction, seeing as the skate park is pretty close to residents from the east. So I would definitely want to point everything in a different direction and have it as far away from any yard as possible. I completely understand that a lot of people don't want to just be hearing nonsense in their backyard or whatever. I believe there is a pretty diverse group of music at this event. It would just be more focused around hardcore music, just because that's how the skate scene kind of has bedded itself. There's going to be a hip hop artist from Wisconsin, a grunge band from Northern Indiana. So I'm trying to diversify the music as much as possible, so it's not a bunch of hard rock, heavy metal, hardcore, anything like that. I don't want to make this a nuisance. I don't want to bother anybody, because I do understand how close houses are in proximity. So that's why I would like to keep it as small as possible. But yeah, that's about it, I think.
Okay.
If I could add some input to this, I think we have a responsibility as what roles that we're in, protecting the character of parks of which we oversee. All of them have different uses and different characters that are associated with each of our parks. Freedom Park, it's a good community park. It's a lot of open space. Sledding Hill, Aquatics Center, the tennis courts there. It's a very active park. You get the idea what I'm getting at. They all have different characters. I don't know that the amphitheater has its own character. It's for liberal arts and musical performances, as the event lawn as well. Northeast Park it's developing the characters, being active as far as sports and softball, skating, and soccer. It is a smaller size community park. One of those characters that does not fit Northeast Park, just because of the geographical proximity of Northeast, is live musical acts. I think it's us being good stewards of park property, like you were saying earlier, Tim, of our neighbors. I think we got to be concerned of bringing in acts in here that have amplified sound in there. I think it is a concerning precedent. I don't know that we really want to set for different characters of our park that doesn't match. It's currently not there now. We've never had anything like that in Northeast Park before, and I just think we need to be careful on the precedent we're setting for Northeast Park.
Well, when you build a skate park, you shouldn't be surprised when somebody wants to use it for an event like this. You know, we should welcome this, as long as it's done within the parameters of being good stewards and being good neighbors to the community. You know, that's exactly why we built the skate park. We want to reach out to the skating community and give them options that any other people who pursue any other athletic or you know, virtues can take advantage of in our parks. Speaking to your concern, I mean, we've got a 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. time frame here. And I understand the 10 p.m. would include tear down and cleanup. So the goal is to be out of there at 10, not just to stop playing music at 10. Would a solution to this be possibly saying amplified music in a window?
If I may, from a director of park standpoint, I think what gives me heartburn on this is that it is surrounded by residential houses. And I think what we also don't know is the full on unknown tangible of the public participation of this. This thing could get huge.
Yeah.
I mean, we have absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
I get a little bit of heartburn when I think about just to the west of that skate park, less than 100 feet away on the property boundary are residential houses. And then you combine that with amplified sound and the intangible unknown of, we have no idea what the attendance of this is going to be. I get concerned. It concerns me a little bit. I like the event. I support the skate community. I think we all do as parks department. We've proven that as far as a tangible project and what we built out there. And I support events out there. I just think the scope of the events, we got to be careful on what they look like and what's involved in them.
Yeah. Just
I'm with you, Tim. I don't like the hours.
yeah, well,
It's too long a day.
It's a long day, but more so than I don't like the hours. I just want to be careful that we're not, you know, we're not blasting music from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
I support a skate, sorry, Council, one more thing, I'll stop. I'll support this sort of skate with live music in the amphitheater. And I'll support it in the event lawn. I will support that. But I understand they want that blend of being able to skate, have the competitions, have the music there at going at the same time. Unfortunately, I don't think Northeast lends itself to that very well, just because of the proximity of how close the houses are for that live music aspect, that amplified sound. That's my input.
There is an ordinance in place in regards to noise, so this event would require a waiver of the noise ordinance, because I would assume that amplified sound would be quite loud and bother the neighbors. So
And who gives out that waiver?
that would be the Board of Public Works and Safety.
So.
So you-
Mr. Smith would have to come before the board. of Public Works.
You would, yes,
Okay.
because, so what you're considering this evening is just the use, so allowing them to use the park's property for their event. And there would be additional approvals that they would need to get for this event, not only on our local level.
Yeah.
If they're having a stage, that goes to the state, and the state would have to approve stages as well. So lots of,
I guess.
So what would we approve tonight?
just the use agreement, so allowing them to use
Just the
that
event.
property, yes.
Good.
The event
I don't have
itself.
any problem with that, but from that, we've lost all control, so to speak.
Well,
Our use agreement could be changed to add additional,
stipulations.
yes.
So this, what I'm reading here, could be revised.
Yes,
Okay.
of course. Those are just drafted based on what the information I provided. Typically, since we had some issues with people driving on, taking food trucks on grass, well, then we've added stipulations for if your event is going to have food trucks, then I add that additional information that they would have to
Okay.
stay on paved surfaces. So no, I mean, that can be changed at any point. You direct me to write the agreement that would make you feel comfortable.
Well, after it's consummated, that all these other departments or whatever, will it come back to us again or not?
No. So you either approve or deny the use agreement, their use of the property this evening.
See, I wouldn't like to approve it under those conditions. Does that make sense? If we lose all control,
Well,
Well,
would you,
you still, the use agreement is between the Parks Board and the individual that's having the event. So if we would say we approve the event as to the skating portion, but not as to the bands, then that would be something you could do.
I would do something like that.
I would definitely do something like that too. I think having a skating event in the new park
It's the greatest thing.
is a
yeah,
great thing.
yeah, and we appreciate your efforts on this. Mr. Smith's putting this together. So I hope you understand where we're coming from. One thing real quick, Rob, we've had one or two events up there this last year.
Correct.
And at those events, I'm almost positive that there was some type of amplification system for speakers or maybe even music. Recorded music, am I correct on that? No, there wasn't?
I'm aware of.
Okay, well, I'm mistaken about that then.
There was a Halloween thing that had a theme to it, but there was nothing on there about amplified
So I'm
sound.
mistaken. Well,
And there was certainly nothing on there about bands.
yeah, I knew the bands was an issue. I knew it was gonna be.
Yeah.
And I agree with your concerns and everything you addressed. The bands is a big issue because that piece of property just doesn't lend itself. And I've been involved in situations here with the city where you're having an event and you're switching one band out from another on the same stage. And that can get hairy, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
So.
Again, from a department standpoint, we support the skate park and the skate community, obviously with our efforts. We just have concerns with amplified sound,
The live music.
proximity,
Yeah.
and live bands.
So could we approve this tonight with the contingency of no live bands?
Yes.
Add to it.
Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith, how do you feel about that?
I completely understand, and that would sound fine to me.
No problem. We appreciate your understanding.
However, I would like to say something.
Sure, go right ahead.
If it were to come down to no live bands, would I be able to gain your guys' support to have this band portion at the amphitheater?
That's another question for another time. We can't say yes or no on something like that without specifics. But I think speaking for Rob, the amphitheater is a better venue for something like this.
There's precedent for that.
Yes, exactly.
I understand 100%. I was just throwing a theoretical. I'm sorry.
We can't say yes or no to a hypothetical like that without seeing the details. But like Rob said, there is a precedent, and the amphitheater is definitely a venue that was created for something like that. And there's more controls over there as far as parking, and those kind of things.
And amenities.
Exactly. Restrooms, food trucks, things like that. That venue at the amphitheater lends itself very well to something like you're speaking of, Mr. Smith. Any other discussion, questions, comments? Okay, Mr. Smith, is there anything else you'd like to say?
I just wanted to say thank you guys for even considering it. I really appreciate the transparency. Yeah, thank you guys for even building a great skate park in your town.
We appreciate that. All right.
So
Need a
then,
motion to either,
how about a motion to approve the use agreement with Jake Smith for the state topless event, excluding the allowance of live music at that event.
motion's been presented. Need a first. Somebody approve the motion?
So moved.
A second.
Second,
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor? Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
aye.
Ms. Kennedy. Ms. Kennedy?
Aye, sorry, I was muted.
That's all right. And I'm an aye also. Motion carries. Mr. Smith, we wish you good luck, and we appreciate you working with us on this.
All right, thank you very much. You all have a good day.
So you won't have to go for any other.
No, he will not. I will update that use agreement and provide it to Heather for your signature.
Thank you. Next time.
Next item for your consideration this evening is a service agreement with American Clean and Seal. And that is for cleaning and sealing services at Freedom Springs for the 2022, 2023, and 2024 season. The total amount will be $96.34. And again, that is for 3 years worth of service.
96.
What did I say?
1,000.
Yeah, what did I say?
$96.
She said
96,000.
We do what you got.
I'm all in favor of that.
Yeah, if you're $96, you better approve it.
Better jump all over.
96,000.
It's, like Sherry said, it's that time of year, this is our sort of third cycle, it's our third contract I believe we've done with these guys. We've just finished up the lap pool. They're a great company. They also work with us. They do the service in the fall, and then they end up invoicing us in the new year, the financial year, so they'll work with us that way as well. And I think the pool shells themselves speak for themselves as far as how they look every year.
So this is an approval for 3 years.
Correct, a 3-year contract.
Each body of water each year. So we just did the lap pool, so we'll probably do the leisure pool, lazy river, and then lap pool. We'll round up 2024. And then we'll be here again doing this exact same thing. Or, asking for your consideration.
So I guess what I'm getting to, this locks us into a good price for 3 years.
Yep, that's exactly what it does. And paint right now with everything as far as supply chain is,
Insane.
it's insane.
Any more questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the service agreement with American Clean and Seal for approval of Freedom Park.
So moved.
Move, need a second.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Mr. Burton. All those in favor, Ms. Kennedy,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
and I'm an aye as well. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is a service agreement with All In Painting. And that's for painting work to be conducted at Freedom Springs. And it's a not to exceed amount of $10,000.
You guys might be aware as well, we have a partnership with All in Painting. It's for $4,000 a year for 5 years, I believe. In exchange for that, we get services rendered. That $4,000 was included in the proposal, as was images and everything we once painted at Freedom Springs. So it's $10,000 for the work that's been provided for you guys in the packet. If you have any questions, this is. A lot of this was maintenance. I mean, it's pool probably going on 7 years, 8 years of operation. So it was a lot of maintenance, a lot of chemical exposure as well, especially in the pump house and the acid rooms. Just trying to get that treated and then put some sort of preventative maintenance to it as far as painting. Happy to answer your questions. I ask you to approve for not to exceed $10,000. We do, this is budgeted money. We have issues.
Yeah, it does look like the pump houses. It's so abuse with all the chemical exposures.
Who took the pictures? They did. They did a good job.
Part of their scope. Yeah.
Okay. Questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the service agreement with All In Painting for the painting at Freedom Springs.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor? Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Ms. Kennedy,
Aye.
and I'm I also. Motion carries.
Okay, the next item for your consideration is ratification of it's actually an amendment to a contract with Main Event Sound and Lighting. They changed a couple of the things that they provide to us for the Rock the Clock Festival. It's about a difference of $100.80.
Obviously, this has already happened.
Correct. I believe the original amount was $5,924.
What it was is the side banners, they told us what we could do.
Yeah.
And like they had a banner, you could just slide over a pole instead of like hanging from the apparatus, and we're like, oh, that's great. And then after the fact, it was, oh, by the way, you picked this kind of pole and uses more equipment. So that's what the $100 difference was.
Questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to ratify the service agreement with Main Events Sound and Lighting for the additional.
It's actually a motion to ratify the amendment to the rental agreement
Right,
with
ratify the
Main
amendment
Event
to the service
Sound and
agreement.
Lighting.
That's Main Event Sound and Lighting.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor?
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich, Ms. Kennedy,
Aye.
I'm not also. Motion carries.
Next items for your consideration is the band contract for the 2022 concert series, both summer and fall. What you should have in front of you is agreements with Blue River Band, Toy Factory, the Wombleys, Dueling Pianos, 45 RPM, Tastes Like Chicken, The Do, Living Proof, Karma, and the Naughty Yachties. Those are our standard entertainment agreements.
Have we had dueling pianos
It's
before?
gonna be the first time.
I'm so there.
Yeah, we talked to Quan, he said a couple of months ago at his entertainment or the garment factory.
Yeah.
That a wedding had him And he said it was by far the most interactive the crowd's ever been at one of their events.
Yeah, I
It's
think
like
that's-
How at the Moon or whatever.
yeah, I think that's what the
Just like how at the minute,
Yeah.
exactly, I was thinking the
Yeah.
same thing, and it will get people moving.
Looking forward to that.
Cool.
Any of these other ones new besides the pianos?
Dueling pianos,
Karma?
Karma switches around. They're also known as the big 80s and next generation.
Oh, okay, okay.
And then Living Proof hasn't been there in a few years.
What's living proof? What are they?
90s and today. We've got 3 open dates that we'll bring in December.
Well, speaking for myself, I appreciate you getting this done and get it all the way now. Pretty smart move.
You wouldn't believe how many we've reached out to that are already booked for
Really?
the whole year, so gotta get them locked in with you.
Questions or comments from the board? Okay. Hearing none. Need a motion to approve the band contract for the 2022 concert series. Do I need maybe 20?
No, we do
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Mr. Burton. All those in favor, Ms. Kennedy,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton.
Aye.
I am an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item for consideration is a contract with goods for floor scrubbers for the field house. That's for 2 floor scrubbers. I believe it's with, you pronounce it
Twice.
Please.
for a total of $22,525.
We met with these guys. They also supplied the DPW with floor scrubbers as well. Pull up the whole facility. This is the kind of the solution they came up with. They have a good product. DPW's been very happy with the service. We did determine that we will need 2 of these, 1 for each level of the field house.
These walk behinds or
Walk behind, so not riders.
Both battery.
Yeah.
Both are battery. What's the longevity on those batteries?
It's a good question. I think what does your hosers do? 5 or 6 years, and at one time during the use, so how long is that, like a couple hours or?
You can go 2.5 hours.
Charge. We did talk about the different services there as well. Obviously, we're not taking it on the turf. I mean, it's the concrete that's there. So we got concrete, the sports court, and the gymnasium, those surfaces, and the walking track with pad exchanges. This machine will be able to service all of those.
So these machines, they're a wet and dry machine, right? They can put the chemical down and vacuum it back up.
Correct. Yes.
Is this a heavy piece of equipment to try to handle?
I'd say it would be, yes.
especially when it's got water.
Yeah.
I don't want to prolong this, but how would you do stairs then?
That's outside of the scope of this
Oh.
machine, what it'll do. Mop in a bucket and
It is
work.
Gotcha.
The old fashioned one.
Yeah, one of the things that we are, this is a footnote, we are gonna have to look into is filling and discharging the machines with water. So we're actually gonna have to figure that out as far as drains and floor drains and facility, but that's our problem, we'll figure that out.
You'll need a floor level floor drain.
Yeah,
Expensive.
we'll probably have to get hose extensions and stuff like that. We can't get it into a specific area, like target one area, get a hose extension and discharge it that way.
That's not right on though, right?
It's not right on,
Yeah.
no.
They're pretty easy to handle. You
Now,
can get them through about any doorway.
Yeah, but it's 37 inches, I believe it's 30. Anyway,
Should be about 28 inches
yeah,
wide, the machine itself.
34 inches.
Says 34
Yeah.
electric disc with Ecoflex, whatever. that
That's
is.
probably with the sweep on
Correct.
it. The sweep is removable,
Okay.
I'm sure.
Since you brought it up, how are you from the turf pit? Just curiosity, I know we're getting off subject a little bit here.
Right now, it's looking like it's just hand pickup, as
Yeah.
far as blood pathogens, things like that. We'll have a kit as far as a pathogen kit, take care of that, if they catch anything like that on there. But it's just basically brooms and sweep it up. Because it doesn't have the infill like the traditional, like a normal turf would, the little rubber pellets.
No sand fill or
No sand fill,
No.
nothing like that. So, it's just your normal.
Vacuum.
I mean,
Yeah, I
Seriously,
guess you'll figure it out when you get in. huh?
probably could vacuum.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I didn't mean to go off on that. so.
Moving on.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the contract of goods with Weiss Floor Scrubber.
So moved.
Oh,
Okay, been moved by Mr. Kennedy,
second.
second by Mr. Burton. All those in favor, Ms. Kennedy,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich.
aye.
I am an aye also, motion carries.
Next item for your consideration is an agreement with Man of Concrete for work to be performed at Freedom Springs Aquatics Park, and that's for a total of $6,900.
That's not to exceed amount as well. But what this area is specifically for in the concession area, I think hopefully in your packet, there was an aerial with an outline of it. Hopefully you had included. The concession area, just south of that is a planting bed with some shrubs in it. We've had constant issues since the day we've opened with that area. Concessions being as popular as it is, we're wanting to fill that all in with concrete.
They good. You gonna try to have that done this year,
That's the plan. I mean, I'd like to schedule.
weather dependent.
Have you used Man of Concrete before?
Yeah, using it for dog park and stuff as well at the west side.
Heard a lot of good things about that company. A lot of good things.
I believe this year you approved a contract.
Yeah, it's
I did?
where,
Yeah. I believe it was the dog.
It seems like I remember that name.
did you guys want to see the area I'm talking about or?
I would.
Well,
Yeah, we didn't get an aerial.
Okay, I thought I had one in the packet, to be honest, that's on me. I'll type this thing. See. You guys see this, this is the concession area here, it's over this cantilever roof, and that building's about right there. This stone area right here, we're gonna fill all that with concrete. That's gonna help kind of reroute that concession stacking of the patrons in there, we'll be able to accommodate that a little bit better. I want to see how the space is going to work with the new concrete. And then I think in future, as we develop this, we may do a shade structure, a custom shade structure here. But in the short term, I think we do tables with umbrellas. So I just want to see how the space is going to work right now until we invest all the money into it. So right now, though, we definitely know that from operational standpoint, just getting that concrete, getting that deck space is going to be, that's going to be the key
It's a
right now.
good move.
Absolutely.
Is that a fence that runs?
Yes, sir.
You're gonna have to move the fence to get the concrete in or?
Now, this is all big serviceable gate right here. All this is a big entry. So that's a large double gate. It'll swing open and it's rated, it's probably 8 to 10 inches thick concrete. So they don't have any problem.
Or right up to it?
Before right into it. Yep.
Awesome.
And we have irrigation in that as well. That'll have to get cut and then retied back into that area, but no dramas. It should be.
Well, nobody can use you guys of sitting back on your laurels over there. You're definitely staying on top of things. Yeah,
Spring Springs.
absolutely.
Yeah, well, I think we have to. I mean, keep the place
Absolutely.
in the shape that it's in. We don't want to get back to where we were in the old facility.
Any questions or comment? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the service agreement with Man of Concrete for work at Freedom Springs.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor? Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Ms. Kennedy,
Aye.
and I am an aye also. Motion carries.
Next item I have for you is consideration of a service agreement and our associated addendum with Safe Slide Restoration for their work at Freedom Springs for the total of $22,700.
See one of the images there, we use the same company to do the interior of the slides. We really need to start looking at the exterior. They're starting to show their age. Tim, we just talked about this a minute ago. It's about to stay on top of the Freedom Springs. See the red is starting to lose that, starting to get weatherized. I don't know, lack of a better term. It's starting to lose its luster. Need to bring that back, put a coating on it. And then I think they use some sort of special paint on that as well, and they coat that with certain thing, acrylic or something like that. So I honestly, they've done this before. We've been really happy with what they've done on the interiors. We certainly need to get the exterior done. This is for the red slide for $22,700.
The term you're looking for is oxidation.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you. Yes.
And they do put a coating on it. Is it a clear coating?
Yes. Well, they're actually going to bring the red back. So they'll actually paint it with the red paint for that surface, for that fiberglass surface. And then they'll put the clear coating over on the top as a preservative. That's how that system works. They're not even from Indiana. I think they're from out of like Iowa or something like that.
And this is-
Missouri.
This is the entire exterior of the red
Yeah.
slide, not just the places that are showing the oxidation.
Correct. It's the entire, and it's not just the top, and it's not just the bottom, it's all the way around. Yeah.
Okay.
And we do have this money in our budget this year.
Well, as I already stated, I commend staff for staying on top of these things, because if you don't, they get away from you
Very quick.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a footnote too, if you guys do consider this as something probably will not be able to get done this year, will certainly be a carryover. And this will be done in this first of the year section.
Before it opens.
Or, yeah.
And just I guess a little comment, this company is following advances in chemical science, right? I mean, if they come up with another product that will wear longer, they're going to recommend that to you versus
Absolutely.
just.
I mean, this is all they do is slide restorations. They travel the country and they do, this is what they do. I mean, so if there's any advancement of technologies or applications, they're gonna be the first to do it. Just so you know as well, the color red is terrible for UV rays, all that, so.
Yep.
That's why it's
Oxidation. Yep.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, I need a motion to approve the service agreement with Safe Slide Restoration to work on the red slide at Freedom Springs.
So moved.
Need a second? Then moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Ms. Kennedy,
Aye.
Mr. Burton,
Aye.
and I am an aye also. Motion carries. Is that all on the return report?
I believe so.
Thank you very much.
I've been wrong before.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the user fee draft review.
All right, just so you guys know, this is a draft. So how I would like this to go is present it to you guys, and any public input as well, which has been advertised. And then any feedback or let you guys look at it for between now and December meeting. And then get a final approval or consideration in December. And then that'll give us time to write resolutions and then also upload the data into our current operating systems for 2022. So We'll kind of go through these and do it on Zoom as well. So there for potential public participation that can take place also. So what we done, we broke this up, and how we did this, I think is important to note as well. We deliberately broke the user fee due diligence down to different divisions of the department. So, for example, the community center was done by the community center manager, Sharon Yeoman, and the aquatics aspect for the Springs was done by the aquatics director, Brooke Thompson. And then shelter house rentals was done by Molly and Heather, and all the recreational programs that we do was done by Nick Schwab, the direct manager. So, and how that was done is they were tasked with going out and looking at precedent. That's something that would be of similar demographic to the city of Greenwood, and have different offerings, and then bring those to the table. We met every Thursday routinely for several weeks, and we kept the meetings very short, 30 minutes apiece. And myself and the assistant director as well provided that feedback, and then they came back with updated versions each Thursday. Before we presented it to you guys, we then presented it back to the division heads for their reviews before we're presenting you guys the draft. I go through all that because we do understand the community impact on changing user fees. And we don't want people to think that we don't do our due diligence. So that's why I wanted to have a little bit of a narrative to explain how we did this and how we went about it. We just don't pick up fees and randomly increase them. We looked at very closely, and not all the fees we increased. We didn't increase everything. We kept some things exactly the same. In some ways, we're changing the way we do things. But I just didn't mean to get too wordy on that, but I wanted to make sure on the record I got out that we've broken this out, we've done our due diligence, and we're presenting it now as a draft, not for approval. We're going to give it a full month, and then we're going to ask for adoption come December. Okay. So Freedom Springs, I'll quickly go through these, or well, take as much time as we need to go through these. As you know, the current rates for resident is $8, non-residents 10, resident child 6, 8 is for non-resident child, resident senior is 6, non-resident seniors 8, resident military is 6, non-resident military is 6. So lots of fees. Resident fees, we didn't see any precedent, nor did we see in the number of units that we were selling per year to increase that. So we are not proposing on increasing the resident rate for Freedom Springs this year. We are looking at increasing the non-resident adult fee by $2. That's a 20% increase. We are not looking to so any resident fee, we're not looking to increase. So non-resident child, we're also looking to increase from $8 to $10. That's a 25% increase. And then the non-resident senior, we're going from $8 to $10. That's a 25% increase. And the non-resident military and resident military have no change. The splash cards, the current right now is for 10 visits. That's at $55. That's $5.50 a visit. For Freedom Springs post 2022, we're looking at increasing that by $5 per card. That's a 9% increase for that across the board. And of course, that would break out these $6 a visit. So still a heck of a deal for the splash card as well. Freedom Springs current, this is for memberships. Right now for the resident, $65. So again, anything resident, even memberships and day passes, no change. Non-resident, that's impacted. We're looking at increasing that from $85 for the membership to $95. That is a 12% increase. And then also, you can see the non-resident increases across the board. The non-resident child is a 12% increase from 85 to 95. The non-resident senior is a 12% increase from 85 to 95. And then no change for resident or non-resident military status. Cabanas, so we're still sticking in to Freedom Springs. I'll go in these. If you guys want me to kind of speed up, or just I want to keep as due diligence as possible. Shelter house cabanas for Freedom Springs. You can see what the current rates are. We're looking at increasing those by $5 for the cabanas. That's a 17% increase for a half day, and then a 10% increase for a full day. And the shelter house, we're looking at increasing by $10 for a half day. That's 4 hours. That's a 10% increase. And then the shelter house full day was currently $200. We're looking at increasing to $220. That's a 10% increase. So we are now on exclusive rentals. You know, we had some instances where there were quite a few instances of exclusive rentals last year for Prairie Springs. So resident rate, we currently have that at $570. We want to increase that to $630. That is per hour. That's 11% increase. So we are tweaking the resident rate when it comes to exclusive rentals. Non-resident rate goes from $680 to $740. That's a 9% increase. And then the non-resident, non-member is $800, and we've eliminated that altogether. We had no numbers or no precedent showing that was ever being used. So it was not a factor in this. So we're going to eliminate that as an option. And then the swim lessons, we're looking at for current 60, and then we're looking at increasing to $65. That's an 8% increase. The non-member is 70 currently, going to 75, 7% increase. And then for 8 private lessons, so you can see that's $95, increasing that to $100, and that's a 5% increase. And then on the next category, for swim lessons, non-member 8 private lessons is $100, 105, 5% increase.
Rob, just a matter of public record, when were these fees that we're currently under right now, when were they set?
So the splash card changed about 2 years ago. So we're on the current user fee that we changed 2 years ago. So the splash card used to be at, I believe it was at 50, and then we moved to 55 2 years ago, and now we're looking at roll up $60. To answer your question, everything else excluding the splash card, we haven't touched since we both to Prairie Springs.
That's what I was getting at.
Yep. Moving on. I'll go as detailed you guys want, or just keep rolling. Okay.
Well,
Here are the impacts of what we just discussed as far as gross revenue and financial impacts. So we've just done everything in units. So in 2021 sales, non-resident, we did $19,738, 19,738 units or sales for non-resident. That was an aggregate number of 197,380. With those rates, with the increase, it's $236,356. That's an increase of nearly $40,000 for that line item. Non-resident child got 20,000, almost 21,000 units on that. Gross on that is roughly $167,000. With the new rate, it's $208,920. That would be a gross of $41,000 and some change on that. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these. The splash card, I will hit on that one. That is a big line item for us. Units that we sold last year or this year, roughly 1,800 of those. That's about $101,000. With that quantity at the new rate, it goes to $110,700. That's an increase of about $9,225. So you take all of the increases and all of the aggregates of that, it's a total increase in fees of $105,819. This increase will help us offset our proposed rates, which just got adopted by council for all the lifeguards and chemical costs, maintenance costs, utility costs. This helps offset those costs.
Yeah, I'm glad you put that asterisk at the bottom. Trying to keep up with everybody else raising their hourly wages. You guys are.
Yeah, it's not only that, it's trying to stay relevant in the market. Right now, it's not about staying relevant in the industry. We're really competing with the market here. So your Lowe's and everyone else as far as the labor goes. All right, community center. Current rate, the community center is a resident adult, $100, non-residents $225, resident for the child is $50, non-resident child 100, resident for senior 65, non-resident for senior 125, and resident, non-resident for the military is $65. Proposed for 2022, I do want to remind you guys that the field house was set as a benchmark that the community center would eventually catch up to. So that's where these fees are coming from. We did our due diligence on the field house when we did those fees. This is catching the community center up to that. So keep in mind that the field house is an extension of the community center. The community center proposed for 2022 for resident adult 125, non-resident adult 250. Resident child 75, non-resident child 125, resident senior 75, non-resident senior 135, military, resident, non-resident goes up to 75. That's 25% for resident, 11% non-resident, resident child 50%, non-resident child 25%, resident senior 15%, non-resident senior 8%, resident military, non-resident military is increased by 15%. Community center, this is for memberships. So what we want to do, what we want to incorporate as well, so this isn't currently what we do. We want to still sell yearly memberships, but we want to give them the option to go into a monthly financial agreement on paying off that membership rate. So currently you either pay for your annual membership right up front, the 120 or the proposed rate of 125, or you don't get a membership, you get a 3-month membership. But now we want to implement a yearly or a monthly membership, which will you lock in for a 1-year membership, but you'll pay in installments each month. So that's what the next line is. So we want to go for community center proposed for 2022. For the resident, it'd be $15, non-resident $30, a resident child would be $9, $15 for non-resident child, resident senior $9, non-resident senior $16, resident military $9, and resident military, non-resident military $9 as well. So day passes. We're going to go on day passes for the community center. We're currently for $5 for resident, non-resident, adults and child, resident, non-residents $4, resident, non-resident for seniors $4, and military is $4 as well. Proposed for 2022, looking at resident for adult $6, resident for child, non-residents $5, resident, non-resident seniors $5, and resident military just increases by $5. Again, the proposed rates are deliberately aligned with the field house, which we've already approved last year. Kid City, these are the punch passes. Currently, the punch pass is inclusive of 10 entries. Those prices are at $35. That's $3.50 per visit, and that's compared to this $4 day pass. So Kid City proposed for 2022. We're looking at a $5 increase. That's 14.29% increase. We're looking at a $40 punch pass for Kid City, and that's a $4 per visit breakdown for that. Punch passes for the gym. Again, we're looking at currently we're doing 10 passes on those punch passes, $45. We're looking to increase that to $50. That's 11% increase on that. Moving on to community center
Rob,
runs.
before you move on,
Yes.
I like the idea of the monthly because I think that'll sell.
Yeah, and that's what came out of these. That's what came out of these meetings. I'll be
So
honest.
that all of you together came up with this.
Yeah, I think that was the community center manager and her staff as well.
It's a great idea.
And in the mechanics, no offense to sharing anybody else, that's just community feedback. That's like getting feedback from patrons coming in.
That's a great
I really wish you
idea.
guys had a monthly.
Can we have a little bit of discussion before we move on?
Yeah,
Because my questions are piling up. So when you consider these monthly fees,
Yep.
are you looking at what it's going to cost you to maintain that program? I mean, as far as like you got a card swipe and you get charged a fee for that swipe. So are you going to have, is it going to be direct withdrawal, and what fees? We looked at the fees it's going to cost.
Yeah, so yes, from a draft standpoint, all that's a yes. So there isn't, the fee is incentivized to make sure you get a yearly fee, meaning it's a little bit cheaper if you go and pay for the year fee up front. If you do want to do monthly installments, there are considerations in there for merchant fees that are going to account for that. That's going to hit that.
Because those are doing nothing but rising.
Correct.
As you know,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be a huge part of your income taken away by the bank.
Correct. But our current operating system, RecTrack, we do believe we have a module that's built into the operating system to allow us to do this. And we definitely will be working with the legal department as far as making sure when they do the yearly contract and opt in to do monthly payments, that they are still accountable for the yearly. So if they pull out after 6 months, they're still going to be accountable for the rest of the 6 months because of that.
So that's good. That's good. And then my next, I guess, big question is, when you're looking at all these rate increases across the board, how are they stacking up with your actual increase for operating? I mean, are you gaining ground, or are you just staying even, or are you losing what, treading water? What are you doing?
Well, that's a difficult question to answer because we are subsidized by tax draw by so much.
Right, but you still need to look at operating somewhat like a business, or you're going to get way behind.
And we certainly do, but we are very cognizant on the increase, on the amount of which we increase at one time. So we are doing this in a tiered system fashion, and not trying to overburden the community that's using that and creating that equity as much as we can with our user fees. So I'm not trying to deflect your question at all.
No, I hear you.
But we are cognizant of making sure we are having cost recovery methods in place. Are we 100% cost recovery when it comes to fees? No, but we're not.
You're not
built
supposed
that
to be.
way, right?
Yeah.
But we are keeping that in mind as far as our wages are increased and everything that, like we did Freedom Springs, that is being accounted for.
Well, on these first lines with no resident increases, I can see that.
Right.
Okay. Do you track the number of days that any of these facilities operate at or near capacity? And can you track the number of residents that are coming in versus non-residents that bring that up to capacity? Well, I guess what I'm getting at is, if the local community is enjoying it to capacity, that's great. But if, outside communities are coming into the community, then in my opinion, they should be charged more, just simply for the fact they're non-resident. And then as it grows, because eventually Freedom Springs is going to be at capacity most of the time.
Yeah, I think you can see evidence of that in how we did Freedom Springs. You saw the resident rates stay completely flat, and you saw the non-resident increased by almost 20%. That's not an accident. That's done on data.
That's why I asked the question. I wanted to make sure that that's on purpose.
Exactly how that's come about. So we've acknowledged that we're getting a high volume of non-residents. We can even tell you they're coming from the Perry Township, Franklin Township, and some of their southern neighbors as well. So that's why there's.
As far as water park, I mean, Perry's probably your closest competitor.
Yeah.
And that place fills to the brim.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that our residents are getting the biggest bite of the sandwich.
Yeah. We have been very careful with that. We've been very cognizant of that process.
Getting back to the monthly fees, I know the information you sent us out in our packets, the emails, you were doing price comparisons on some of these things with other departments, other facilities. Does anybody else offer the monthly fee?
Yes.
Yeah.
There are others?
Yeah,
Everybody does?
we're actually
Catching
one
up.
of the few that don't. We're catching up on that.
Okay, just curious.
Just on a note, I think the monthly fee is a
Outstanding.
fantastic idea. It allows people that may not be financially capable of swiping for the whole thing and still enjoy our stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry for that.
Oh, not at all. Anything else? Anybody?
Yeah, real quick. Well, all this, I know we're gonna absorb this tonight, study it, think about it for a month, get back with staff if we need to. Is this gonna be available online, or how can your average citizen access this information?
We can make that happen.
I know it's available tonight on Zoom, but if your average citizen wants to see this information,
Some of these meetings get posted on YouTube, that anyone can rewatch it.
Yes, they do.
okay.
Yeah, we can do it on the Facebook page as well. We can do it on our website as well. And if you choose, if you want me to speed this up a little bit and just kind of break and go over
Well,
this.
I just want to make sure in light of transparency, that we're trying.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure, because I've done this before. So none of you guys want to go ridiculous. I've raised the rates once before and I got roasted, right? And I don't want to do that again. I'm learning my lesson on that. So I want to be as absolutely transparent as possible. But I'm happy to kind of go through this and summarize it quickly, and then we'll make everything public for the 30 days via website and social media. That's what that's fine.
I would just like, even your events, as I've had several people ask me about the Halloween parade, you'd be surprised the number of people that have no clue that these things happen in our community. And I don't know how we get that out even further, but I think this will be a prime example of that. Everybody will say, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So I say post anywhere and everywhere you can.
Oh, yeah.
That way you're not accused of trying to hide it. It's right there.
Well, I just want people to have access to the information.
Did you want to continue, Rob?
Yeah,
Okay.
just do community center rentals real quick. One of those things we talked about, we weren't changing. It's one of them. As far as the current day per time per hour, it's $40. And non-members 80. We're actually looking at decreasing that. Is that correct?
Yeah, during non-peak times. So like during school hours, we're proposing decreasing rental rates. Because if a business just wants to come in and have a meeting in the middle of the day, that's a non-peak time where that they have the meetings regularly anyway for our programming and things like that. So
We're incentivizing that.
incentivizing.
Well, you're showing flexibility too, and keeping the space used. I think that's a great idea.
So, yeah, that, if you guys have any questions on room rentals, be happy to answer any of them, and we'll move on. Community center impacts, it's the same as it was before. You can see for the day pass for the adults, $11,000 gross for the adult, and $11,000 increase for the child based on the units sold in the previous year. For the punch passes, it's $805 increase. The gym, it's $175. The membership, the resident adult, $22,000 potential gross revenue increase, $675 for non-resident, $5,400 for resident child, $450 for non-resident child, $1,200 for resident senior, and non-resident senior looking at $60 based on the units sold in previous years. As far as party packages go, for the community center, we're going to a $500 gross revenue. For small room, medium room, $760, large room, $840. For court rentals, you're looking maybe an increase around $1,300. The total increase in rental revenue looking right around about $3,300. For the room rental increase and total increase in fees, be inclusive of the membership increases, and the room rentals is around $58,000. Outdoor rentals, again, real simple. We're looking at doing resident full, increasing that by $5, and then non-resident increasing that by $5. You're looking at 8% and 6% increase on those. I will note on some of the other venues that we're looking at doing, again, the amphitheater, we wanted to take a close look at that. We felt that was very much undervalued. To give you an example, a resident at the amphitheater this year could rent that at $150 for a full day, and then for non-resident could do $175. We're looking at increasing that to $1,500, and then $1,500 across the board. So it's over a 200% increase for the amphitheater. Outdoor rental impacts, you guys can see the total impact on that. We're looking at $7,160 gross revenue for the total impact on that. And again, that just offsets any maintenance that has to happen to those facilities. Youth programming, you're overall looking at increase in tiny T-ball and youth soccer, tiny T-ball, and all the youth programs across the board. Also, latchkey, education station, and summer camp. We're looking at doing that increases as well. You're looking at a total for your youth programming. The impact on that compared to numbers from this year would be $21,005. Again, that'll have to offset fuel costs and programming costs to put those on. Dog parks, we have 3 dog parks. They're currently done $40 for resident, $45 for non-resident. So that's a 13% increase for resident, 11% increase for non-resident. Looking for a total gross impact on that around $2,000.
Just curious, probably can't answer this question. How many non-residents would you think we have use our dog
We
parks?
pulled data. We can't answer that.
Just curious. I don't expect you to get it to me right now. I've always wondered about that.
Non-residents, so it's about 25% of them,
Quarter.
right around 100 of them
Okay,
sold this year.
Thank you.
Non-residents.
Total gross impact across the border, and we talked about Freedom Springs, 105,819, dog parks, 2,115, community center, 57,000, outdoor amenity rentals, around 7,000, rec programs, around 26,500. Total increase of gross revenue proposed would be around $200,000. Sorry, I was so worried at the beginning. Just wanted to make sure that went through all that.
I like wordy sometimes.
Yeah, that was too much. But anyway, that was important. I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity to thoroughly go through that.
So when you guys put all these numbers together and you look at resident and non-resident, how are you seeing the non-resident numbers? Are they increasing dramatically, a little bit?
You mean from previous years?
Yeah,
I don't know that we've done that. And I mean, we can do that. We'll look at that and go back in the history log and see if the non-resident fees are increasing through like a 5-year period. See if
I think it'd be beneficial to do that.
But we have not done that.
I think it also would be great if you saw that increase as being substantial. Well, the job that you guys are doing. But no, you're on the right track. You're moving in the right direction.
Yep.
When people come from out to enjoy, you gotta be doing something right.
So we'll make this public, we'll work on that, we'll do a website and Facebook, and make sure everyone is aware of potential rate increases.
and if board members have questions, concerns, comments about things, they should just direct them to you.
Yeah.
You can talk about them individually.
We can just call you at home.
Yeah.
Yep. Sure. Again, sorry I was so worried, but like I said, I've done this before and it was,
You know, Rob, you guys worked hard on this. Somebody should stand up and wait this and read every word of it out loud. So, you know, I appreciate the staff doing their due diligence. This wasn't done half-heartedly. And I think the information presented tonight proves that. Anything else on the user fee draft review?
that's it.
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Parks Foundation report.
Well, if you guys have that report, any questions, be happy to.
Stopped in over at Craig Park yesterday. Is the plaque up on that tree or around it?
The sign is up. So if you go in the event along the foot trail, the
Okay.
path, it's there on there.
Okay, I thought it was closer to the tree.
Gotta get out of your car. Jim.
I did. I drove into the grass. and got out. That's what you get for taking all those posts down.
Yeah.
Anything on Parks Foundation from the board? Controller report. Greg is with us tonight.
So we'll start with the operating fund, Fund 204. If you look down near the bottom there, you can see so far for the year, we put about $78,000, $397 in the bank. Really just bodes well for our projections as far as revenues and expenditures from here. And you'll see bottom line on the percentage remaining for the available budget is 27.6%. So with 2 months left, as long as we're above 17%, generally we would think we're in good shape. So yeah, we're running a little ahead there. Part of that is just because some of the salaries we anticipated for the field house haven't come online yet, but I think that budget wise, we're in good shape for the rest of this year. On to the food and beverage tax fund, Fund 205. Food and beverage taxes continue to come in ahead of our anticipated numbers, so really happy with where we're sitting right there. Park SNR, page 3, Fund 211. You can see we have positive cash flow so far this year of 95,251. Since that fund really is driven by programmatic revenues and expenses, that is a good sign that we're sufficient right now for what we're bringing in. I know a lot of the youth programs, we take in some of those revenues on the front end, and we'll be expending throughout the rest of this year and into next year on that. But that does give us a good feel that at least for now, we're keeping up with where we need to be. And I would commend the job that the Parks Department did on the user fees, because I try to hit every department head every year to remind them to look at those, keep up with those. As Rob mentioned, Freedom Springs, fees haven't changed since we opened, so this is one of those that inflation's catching up with us, and so I think it's great that's been put together, and we're looking at those this year. Finally, on the park impact fee, Fund 403. Right now, we're slightly outspending the revenues for the year, 64,455. With that one, though, I do like to point out that we've got a lot of big projects in the works. We just closed at the end of last month on the agreement for the property there around the field house, so we'll start seeing some work going up there. That's going to be a lot of park impact fees coming in. We've got several other developers that we're in discussions with that should keep that one fund flush for us in the next several years. Good questions on anything?
Anything from the board? Greg, as always, thank you. We appreciate your information. Aquatics Report.
I believe you have that report.
Yep.
Have any questions?
Anything from the board? Parks Report.
We have a capital report, big question, we won't have to answer. I've got, there's still crack sealing, some of the parks, they're out doing, finishing up Freedom Park today, and Thursday, they will be out at Freedom Park, the tennis court, doing crack sealing on that. Next week they will, as long as the weather holds the way it's supposed to, they'll be out there painting that. So, getting that all done.
Parking lot of Craig Park Drive looks amazing. The curb, outstanding. I can't say enough good things about the curb. Now I'm sure it looks like you're gonna get to it here, but sorry, didn't mean to steal your thunder. Looks great. Anybody got anything else for Jim? Okay, Rob, I'm sorry. Cutsinger property.
As you know, we've been pursuing buying 6 acres, a little over 6.5 acres on Cutsinger Road. It has been approved by council to express interest in this. In your packets, you guys will provide a quick summary of the appraisals. I have to provide 2 appraisals, which I have. Valbridge came in at $200,000. Stevenson Realty Advisory was at 235. To include the average of those two. It's be integral to incorporate that into Freedom Park. We own on 2 different sides. I would ask the board to consider an offer to the landowner of $217,000 for the purchase of the Cutsinger property. And And that would be funded through impact fees.
Discussion, questions, comments? Who's the property on?
This would be Mrs. Bright. Mrs. Bright.
I believe it's the Bright Trust.
It's a Bright Trust, correct.
Okay.
And this shouldn't be surprised, I presented this to you guys before.
Yeah, the only comment I have is that's a pretty big difference with appraisals. I mean,
Disclosure again, But
Yeah.
I don't think, if you don't have any financial interest in the property, there should be no issue.
If the board doesn't have to do gatherings, I don't believe, you could use the appraisals if you want, we use the average between the two. If you think there's too much disparity between the two, that's entirely up to your guys' discretion.
Well, it's a crazy time for appraisers right now, having experienced a little bit of that personally.
Right.
They're kind of all over the board. At least my personal experience the last month or so. Don't know what you're gonna get.
how many acres is this for?
It's nearly 7 acres, I think it's
6.85.
around there. It's getting close to the valuation of about $29,000, $30,000 an acre. Yeah. Which is about what the market is right now. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Any other questions or comments?
And you're wanting to offer 217 for it.
217.
Are you confident that you'll get it at 217?
Yeah, I got the evidence to support me for that. I got documentation for it that I'll present to her or the owner.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
You have motion to present an offer to the owner of the parcel for $217,000. And Mr. Schrader, if you'd like to.
Yeah, I will, just to be transparent, I do have, my son has a relationship with a member of the Bright family. I do not have a personal relationship with anybody in the Bright family, nor do I have any financial dealings or what I gain in any way from this transaction.
So I don't see any issue with conflict in this case.
I believe the motion was presented by the city attorney, assistant city attorney.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second,
Been moved by Mr. Burton, seconded by Mr. Dietrich. All those in favor, Mr. Burton,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
aye.
Ms. Kennedy.
Aye.
I am an aye also. Motion carries. Serena Paving, again, sorry I stole your thunder.
You guys saw in your packet, graphic, what's in blue is everything that was done, is all milled down and repaved. And the red, there's a red line on there as well. That was, there's actually a trail there off Washington Street that needed some work as well. Parks, big users, we actually need that as an access road. We also need to be contributors to that project. Craig Drive, I'm asking the park board to consider considerations for contributions for $35,930.50. Craig Drive Trail for $26,728. Seeding aspect, which you can see all the back of the curbs, the contribution cost of $4,324.38. And then contribution cut for the undercuts of $8,625. For total park contribution to that project, $75,615.88. The reason why I say contributions is because we are one of a couple of other city departments that are contributing towards that. We actually don't physically hold the contract, but Kelsey will take care of all that interdepartmental contract for us.
So what was the total?
$75,000.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, with everybody's contributions in total, do we know that yet?
I don't.
I think it came in, the total investment for all of the paving around there was around $400,000.
Are they gonna backfill them curbs?
I believe so. I mean, they already have.
The
already.
heck, so.
Yeah,
Some of them, yeah.
I didn't notice any of them being backfilled.
yeah.
I think they were working on some of it today.
Cool.
Questions or comments, any others?
Curbs will keep everybody from driving off the road into the mud.
Yep.
Won't they?
Yeah, it looks like they put a little, they did a little swale in there for the Little League property, trying to help them out a little bit. Maybe, I don't know. I would hope they're happy with it. All right, any emotion on this, Kelsey?
Yes, a motion to approve the funding of the paving project.
Park Department's contribution. to the
Yes,
paving
yes.
project. Need that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Mr. Dietrich, seconded by Ms. Kennedy. All those in favor, Mr. Burke,
Aye.
Mr. Dietrich,
Aye.
Ms. Kennedy?
Aye.
I am an aye also. Motion carries. Thank you, Rob. Trails.
Only update I have is Northwest Los Annex is complete, the connection is done. Complimentary of pervious asphalt as well, so we have a connection between Northwest and Los Annex. Thanks for your guys' support.
Anybody got anything for Rob on trails? Okay, moving on. Recreation report.
You have a copy of our report. We got both of our Halloween events in over the last 2 weekends. And now we're planning our tickets for Breakfast with Santa and Kid City Christmas are now available. And they're selling quickly. So I anticipate they'll probably both be sold out.
Still playing ball.
Yeah, I gotta go turn the lights on here in a few minutes.
I was wondering.
So
about
it gets
that.
dark, you
I was
see me
wondering
leave.
who was gonna do that.
Yeah, if you see me leave, I gotta go turn the lights on northeast.
So let's try to keep Nick here as long as possible. Okay. Well, I'm glad to see the Dietrichs back. Hope those go over well. Anybody got anything for Nick?
I mean, wouldn't it be nice to have all those, instead of having to go turn them on, we could have it centralized?
Soon,
And technology.
soon I'll be able to sit
Out
here
there,
and
Nick.
sit it from my phone.
You gotta crawl before you walk.
Very, very soon.
Anybody have anything else for Nick? Who's turned them off?
Jeff will turn them off.
Oh, okay. Jeff drove a short straw. Okay. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Go get those lights. Field house report.
Will you guys have a report? I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, again, I was over there today. Very exciting. Can't wait to see it once. Open up. How many total, I know we've got Ricky and John. How many of the other part-time staff have brought on helping out the field house?
It's probably around 15, 16.
Isn't that many? They're helping out at the community center,
Yeah, they're trying
getting
to.
their
Community
feet.
Center's very crowded right now.
I'm surprised at the number of residents that still don't realize that that's being built. Yeah, it just blows my mind.
Yeah, I would be curious how they're gonna get that lift on the second floor down. That was one question I didn't get an answer for today. I think they're gonna go push out a window. All right, community center report.
Questions? No. We are crowded. Lots of people. Good things.
Numbers continue to increase.
Yeah.
You've been steady on the increases, so that's great news. I have anything for Sharon? Okay, other business from the public? Other business from the board? Okay, I believe everybody got a copy of the claim sheet. Corrections.
One thing I'd like to wish Mr. Dietrich a happy 89th birthday.
Early, a happier, early birthday, Mr. Dietrich.
Happy birthday, Dick.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
We love having you on the board. Wouldn't be the same without you. Okay, okay, there's no other business coming before this board, this meeting is adjourned.